Hello, football fans, and hello, AAF fans. Let's talk about Week 7 of the AAF, and we'll get into some news afterwards also. Let's talk about the first game. We're not going to talk too much about Orlando. This is a good old-fashioned ass-whipping all the way around. Orlando played like they were pissed off about losing the home game to Arizona last week, and they took it out on the Legends big time. Final score here was 36-6, and the game was a lot close. The score actually makes the game seem was a lot closer than it was. It wasn't. Gary Gilbert had 217 yards passing, one touchdown, no interceptions, 83% completion percentage. He didn't have to do a whole lot this game. The Ernest Judge had 54 yards rushing. Rodell Hall had 60 yards receiving, but it was actually the Orlando defense that made things easy this week. They were unbelievable. They got to Aaron Murray, 3 sacks. Aaron Murray got a dose of reality this week. I mean, he did complete 70% of his passes for 135 yards, 1 touchdown, but threw 2 very bad picks, which turned into scores for Orlando. Now listen, Orlando can score. If you give him turnovers, you'll pay. And Atlanta does not have that type of offense where they can be in a shootout or come from behind like that. So Atlanta looked like the team that we saw the first 4 weeks. They're now 2-5. Orlando is now 6-1. And that's it for that game. Orlando is going to be in Memphis, the Liberty Bowl, to play the Memphis Express. And Atlanta goes to Birmingham to play the Iron. So things do not get any easier for Atlanta. Second game. You could debate whether this is the game of the week. If you love defense, you love this game very, very much. These two teams came ranked 1 and 2 in quarterback sacks. San Antonio came number 1 in turnovers and scoring on defense. And man, what a defensive game this was. Josh Woodrum had 229 yards passing on the day. He was good. He had a good game. Threw 1 touchdown and 2 bad interceptions. 1 in the red zone, 1 on a 2-point conversion, which gave San Antonio the lead for good. They never looked back late in the fourth quarter. Once again, Salt Lake does just this much to find a way to lose the game. San Antonio shut down the Stallions running game to less than 50 yards. They did have over 229 receiving. You can't throw the ball on San Antonio. That's not a secret. Logan Woodside took his lumps this game. He was 13 of 19 for 164 yards, 1 touchdown, and a bad pick himself in the red zone. So, again, these two quarterbacks, Woodrum and Woodside, they always find themselves managing the game well, but making that one big mistake. Fortunately for Logan Woodside, Woodrum made the last mistake, which gave San Antonio the win 19-15. They got to Logan Woodside 6 times this game. They sacked him 6 times. San Antonio got 2 sacks on Woodrum. They were on Woodside's face the whole night. He had a pretty bad night. They knocked him out. Ended up costing Salt Lake because Marquise Williams comes in, completes 2 or 3 for 49 yards. A 36-yard touchdown pass to Terrell Williams out of the backfield, which gave the lead to San Antonio for good. He completes the 2-point conversion. Woodrum drives down the field. They get a touchdown. He throws the interception, the 2-point conversion to DeMonte Busby. And that was it. San Antonio runs the clock out. San Antonio goes to 5-2. Salt Lake goes to 2-5. And man, Salt Lake just finds ways to lose. It's a shame because their defense is good. They have some good skilled players on offense. Nick Truesdale, Demonte Pearson. I'm sorry. and Joel Bong-young, but they always do this much to lose a game. Salt Lake will be home this week. They're playing the San Diego Fleet. Both teams definitely need a win, and San Antonio will be home on a Sunday night game, hosting the Arizona Hotshots, which is going to be a big game. You call it the game of the week right here. 1-2 in division. San Antonio looking to clinch probably a playoff spot this week. I haven't checked the math yet, but ought to be a fun game. Let's see. The Sunday afternoon game between Arizona and San Diego. Arizona won this one 32-15. San Diego did not have their quarterback, Phil Milson, again, and on top of that, Dantes Moore was not in the lineup either, their best receiver. That is a killer right there. But despite that, Nelson Spruce stepped up at 146 yards. Mike Bergovici had 310 yards passing. He was pretty good, but touchdown pass. But he had 2 big interceptions. And the book on Bergovici is you get in his face, you get pressure up the middle, you'll get those picks. And when he's on the run, he's very erratic. San Diego did have over 100 yards rushing. And the Arizona defense is lousy against the run. I figured they would throw the ball more. I've run the ball more, but as I said by Mike Martz, the reason why he's not coaching the NFL. You have to expose that terrible run defense of Arizona. Now, they did do it for 300 yards, but big mistake not using Watson and Gardner more. They did have over 100 yards rushing. I'm going to expose that run defense of Arizona. I mean, if Atlanta Legends could run on you, you got problems. As for Arizona, John Wolford, a good game. 79% of his passes were complete for 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 bad interception, which ended up not hurting him. Almost 200 yards rushing for Arizona. So on top of Wolford getting hot, they have now developed a good running game. Almost as good as Orlando's. Almost 200 yards, 189 yards rushing. Rashid Rosh had 3 more receptions for 53 yards. Holloman had a touchdown pass. Their receiver Duarte had the other one. And Arizona is now 4-3. San Diego's 3-4. Arizona, of course, goes into San Antonio for the big Sunday game, and San Diego is facing, on the road, facing what's going to be a tough Salt Lake team looking for a win. And finally, our last game of the weekend, our first ever overtime game. Thank goodness, we finally got one. Memphis comes back and wins this one, 31-25 in overtime. Of course, the hype coming into this game was Johnny Manziel. Would he play? Would he not play? Would he play some? He got all the attention. Luis Perez got off to the good start, but it was Brandon Silvers who stole the show for Memphis and for the game. He was amazing. Coming in last week for the injured Zach Mettenberger, he did good. And then, of course, having to look over Johnny Manziel this game, he completed 70% of his passes almost for 266 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Manziel goes 3 for 5 for 60 yards, for 48 yards, and he also rushes for 20 yards. He just wasn't ready to play. 3 days of practice is not going to get you a whole lot of playing time. You can tell he had the, on his forum there, the cheat sheet. But Brandon Silvers was awesome. And he had to be because Birmingham shut down that running game. Only 41 yards running for the Express, but 314 yards passing. Reese Horn was amazing. 7 receptions, 113 yards. He was a beast on special teams as well. Had a couple big returns, which helped get Memphis back in it. And of course, the block punt returned by Tyrell Bonds, 68 yards. That's the play that got Memphis back in this game. And it seemed to boost the whole team overall. Their defense stepped up and shut down Birmingham in the second half. Silva's got some momentum going, and Reese returning kicks got them the win here. Of course, they drove down the field towards the end. Silvers hits Reese Horn for the game time score. They hit the 2-point conversion. They go to overtime. 4 and out for Birmingham. They were the first to go. He 4th and goal. He throws the ball in the end zone. And second down, second goal for Memphis in overtime. Brandon Silvers hits the winning touchdown pass to Williams. Game over. We have our first overtime game in the books. Memphis goes to 2-5. They will host Orlando next week. Birmingham will host a beat-up Atlanta team. Now let's talk about some things. First of all, I was happy we finally got an overtime game. And what a game it was. Now you can debate whether this was the game of the week or the San Antonio game. If you like defense, was the game of the week. They were both good games. Even though we got the overtime game and the Memphis game, I like the San Antonio game better because one, I think there was more on the line, and two, the crowd in San Antonio is just awesome. They have the best fans. Gary Gilbert's still the best player in the league. He's the best quarterback. They have the best offense, Orlando. Defense, it's hard to say. You can make the case for every team. Defense is a real tight in this league, and they hit hard. That's what I like about this league. Attendance, let's talk about money here. Atlanta had 11,416. That's their highest crowd of the year. Not great, but at least they are improving. San Antonio breaks their own record, 30,345 fans, and they were loud. They were awesome. Arizona, a pathetic 9,760. I don't know what the deal out in Arizona is. They have beautiful weather every game day. It's 75 degrees. No one goes to the games, and they have a very entertaining offense right now, and their team is starting to look good. Memphis, their record crowd's 13,758, probably thanks to Johnny Manziel coming. But the third best attendance overall for the year for the AAF. On a TV note, TNT has picked up another game. They will be covering one of the conference finals game on Easter weekend. We don't know yet. Teams are yet to be decided. So both semifinal games will be on the main networks, TNT and CBS. So that's good news for the league. It tells you how well the league is doing as far as ratings goes. And we don't have the ratings yet. I'll have those later for you on a week. Don't forget they had to compete against March Madness. Now the only saving grace is that the games this weekend for March Madness were absolutely terrible. We had two good games the whole weekend. The rest of it was boring. I'm going to tell you right out, I watched all 4 AAF games because the ANCAA tournament was that bad. Plus, I'm a football guy first anyway. The other thing is, I told you that the game was moved, the championship game was moved from Las Vegas to Dallas, but I told you it was going to be played at AT&T Stadium. It's not. It's going to be played at the Ford Center at Frisco Star. That is the Dallas Cowboys practice stadium. And I saw this on YouTube, the view of the stadium, and I tell you what, say what you want about Jerry Jones. I don't like him as a general manager since the Jimmy Johnson era. But man, when it comes to business and marketing, there is no one better than Jerry Jones for the NFL. They do everything first class. And not that I pay attention to teams' practice facilities, I don't. But I'm going to go on a limb and say that the Dallas Cowboys have probably the best practice facility in the NFL. This thing was just amazing to look at. And this is a 12,000 seat indoor stadium. So they have a better chance, a great chance now of selling out the championship game, which one will give you a better atmosphere for a championship game, which is important. And two, it just looks better on television. And if it looks better on television, you have a loud crowd, you're bound to have a better TV audience, as opposed to having a 45,000 seat outdoor stadium in the desert. So good move by the AAF. Thank you, Jerry Jones, for stepping up. Apparently, he's a big fan of the AAF and wants to succeed, so that's a good thing. And with that in mind, I can't help to think they're probably praying the AAF and hoping that San Antonio makes it the championship game. Because it's about a 4-hour drive, and I tell you right now, if the Commanders make it, you just may see the Commanders fill that stadium. We'll see. The other thing is that Sunday night game on the NFL Network between Memphis and Birmingham. They did what TNT did a couple weeks ago. They went with these wacky camera angles up above. Now listen, I don't mind you giving me that camera angle once in a while, but do it on a play that's not really big. The game tying 2-point conversion, it was hard to tell who caught the ball. It's hard to follow play. It was very annoying, and the NFL Network did this a few times. And listen, I know you're trying to experiment. Just experiment on a play that's really not big in the game. Do it on a 3rd down and 30 in the 3rd quarter when the game is on the line. Do not give me these wacky angles when the game is on the line. It's just very annoying, and it's like... But other than that, that is the results for Week 7 and news of the AAF. We'll talk about my Week 8 predictions later on in the week. We've had 28 games now, and I can say 24 of the 28 have been very competitive. We've only had, as far as I'm concerned, we've only had 4 bad games right now. So that's good. You think about that, about 90% completion of really good competitive games. So this league is... Once again, they are doing almost everything right, and moving that championship game to this stadium in Dallas was a very good idea, but I still much rather have the highest seed, have the home field advantage. Anyway, folks, let me know what you think. We'll see you on during the week. Take care.